This is a video of how to delete messages in bulk in Gmail. And before I do that, you might want to explain why you want to delete messages in bulk in Gmail. If you're using Gmail, you have a free, via Google, 15 gigabyte of storage for your emails. Some people get very close to and exceed that. If you do exceed that, you either got to buy more storage from Google or you have to delete some emails. If you've got 15 gigabyte of emails, going through and deleting them one at a time, or even screenfuls at a time, is very, very painful. So therefore you need to delete them in bulk. How do you do that? Okay, first thing is you can delete them if you've got a email program via the email program, if you've got IMAP perhaps, but even then it doesn't delete the sent emails, right? However, I suggest it's best to delete them with the browser because it'll be a lot faster. Right? So you need to get into your browser version of Gmail. Now, what I mean by browser version of Gmail, that means you go into where you normally would use the internet. I'm using Google Chrome, which is my browser, and you can use other browsers. It doesn't really matter, but you need to get into it. You need to then call up the Gmail web page. Now, the easiest way to do that, if you're in Google, is to just go over here. If you usually it's got a little thing there that says Gmail. You can just go into Gmail. If it hasn't got it there, for example, there's accounts, there's Gmail. I could go into it there. I've already called it up, so if you click on that, it's going to look. If you do that, it's going to come up with something that looks like that. You may have to log in, whatever. You have to know your username and password to get in. Okay, once you're in that sort of thing, that's where you need to do all this work. You need to do it in the browser version. You have to have a screen that roughly looks like this. Obviously not those messages or on the left-hand side there, but basically the screen that looks like that. So that's the first thing. Okay, so the first thing is we get into a browser version of Gmail. The next thing is you need to search for the messages to be deleted. And there are multiple ways of doing this. Now, just to go back there, okay, so you search for it. How do you search for it? You use this thing up here, which is called Search Mail. Now I'm going to show you one way of searching for a moment. I'm going to simply type in the word before. In fact, I've done this already. The word before, then a colon. In this particular case, the year, a slash, the month, a slash, and the day. In this case, before 2009. That comes up and says loading. You'll notice now all the email messages are all only before 2009. However, it only shows you, in this particular case, it says 1-50 of many. In other words, there's many of these. It doesn't tell me how many there are. So I can see the first 50, which I could go now and actually use the select them, right, with this thing here, and then delete them. But if I did that, I'd only be deleting to 50 at a time. If I select this box up here, that'll select all the 50 that you normally can scroll and see. Okay, but what we want to do, just to show you here, we want to select the messages on the web page, which is what I just did. I clicked on that thing and it selected that. So just to go through to do that again, right? I clicked on that thing at the top. I clicked on that, but that only selects all 50 messages on this page are selected. Okay, but what we want to do is be able to select messages, select the messages on the web page that you can't see. So there are, as I said, there's more than this, but over next to the message here, it says all 50 messages on this page are selected. Select all messages, select all messages that match the search. If I click that, right, now if there were thousands of them, it says selected thousands of them. Don't know how many. It might give up some sort of message to say how many there is, but it would select all of those messages now, not just the 50 that are there. Okay. The next thing is obviously select all the message you search for, including the ones you can't see, right, which we've just done. Then use the delete function. Okay, so the delete function is the rubbish bin here. It's delete, right? If you click that, it'll ask you if you want to delete it, then delete it. I'm not going to delete it, so I'm not going to do that at the moment. Okay, I'm not going to delete it. When you do that, it'll probably come up with a message saying it's going to delete X number of messages, and it'll say probably wait, and it could take quite some time before it deletes all the messages. All right. And when it's finished, I don't know what it says. I forget what it says because I'm not going to delete them. Okay. The next, so we've used the delete function. All right. Even though you've deleted the messages, all right, you've deleted them out of, let's just go back, out of your inbox. However, they are now, rather than being in your inbox, they're now in what's called trash. That means you can undelete them once you've deleted them again, okay? But we don't want to do that because even though you've deleted them from your inbox, they're still in the trash, they're still taking up part of your 15 gigabyte of storage. So you need to get rid of them out of the trash, right? How do you do that? So use the delete function, get to the trash email. So how do we get to the trash emails? Okay. Over on the left-hand side here, there'll be a little area called inbox, and you may have various other things, right? Somewhere down there, we go down, it should say trash, but it doesn't say trash. What it does so is says more. It shows you a couple of categories and it says more. You click on the more and then go down, you'll up or down, you'll find eventually, you'll find one that says trash, which I haven't got because I haven't, oh, there's still more. I didn't, so I go down, trash, there's the trash one. Don't get mixed up between spam and trash. Spam is messages that, you know, a spam. Trash is the one you want. You click on trash, right? You click on trash. Now, once again, because you may have many in trash now, perhaps thousands of them, you can once again go up here and select them all, but then you may find this will say you're only showing you those ones, but you can select all of them that are in trash. If it's got a message, select that, or it might actually say empty all that are in trash, right? In which case you do that. It says empty trash now, confirm the deleting. Okay, deleting messages, mine was only 3, it was done very quickly. If you've got thousands of them, it'll take quite some time, a long time perhaps. Okay, all right, so we've got into the trash, we've emptied the trash, including the ones that you can't see. So once again, there'll be some that you can't see. That's where you've got to go to those other messages, all right? Okay, the next thing is, all right, I can scroll down. Why is this not scrolling? Okay, crazy computer. Why it may not have worked. Determine if it has worked is the first thing. So has it worked? After you've deleted the trash, you should look here. If you had the full 15 gigabytes there, somewhere on the screen, and you might have to slide down to the bottom to see this, or slide down to the bottom of the trash or the bottom of the messages, it'll tell you, in my case, I've got 12.2 gigabyte, 15 gigabyte, 81% used. It should be less than that. If it hasn't gone down at all, then the chances are that you've only deleted a small number of messages and not other messages. Messages could be in other places. So why it may not have worked, maybe you didn't have many in your inbox, you got them stored somewhere else, in which case you've got to go into those particular tags to find it. And they're over here, all these other ones. For example, it may be all in sent, right? You go into sent, right? There's sent messages. And you can, because Google keeps a lot of your sent messages as well. And maybe you have to delete them out of sent messages, in which case, once again, you go into sent and then you type in up here before a certain date or a certain criteria to delete them. So that might be another reasons why you haven't deleted enough messages. Okay. The next thing is multiple ways of searching for messages to be deleted. I used a thing called before and typed in a date and selected all messages before a certain date. Maybe you don't want to delete all messages by a certain date. You want some other sort of criteria. If that's the case, there are multiple things you could do in the search. If I go back, and by the way, another thing that's worthwhile looking at too, rather than just looking at your inbox, there's also under more, there's usually a thing called all mail. All mail, that one. All mail includes the sent, the inbox, all other categories of mail. So if you want to make sure you want to delete things, you might want to delete them out of all mail. In other words, do that same thing as searching mail in all mail rather than just in your inbox. Okay. Okay. The other ways of search, multiple ways of searching for messages to be deleted. Okay. You type in a certain parameter in here. Now, what are those parameters? Now, if you go over here, I've already called this up, and you search for Google Gmail search parameters. You go into Gmail and search for Gmail search parameters, you'll get this page, which is support Google, something about parameters, right? And how to use a search operator. And here are some of the things that you can do. For example, you can specify a sender, a recipient who receives a copy, words in the subject line. For example, you only want to delete things with words in the subject line. All the things like we've had before, services matches during a certain time period, after and before, or newer. For example, after a certain date, before a certain date. You can say with a range of dates as well. Okay. Another thing you can do too. I'll just see if I can find it. What's it called? Attachments. For example, messages that have attachments. Right. You can also search for messages that have attachments beyond a certain size, or attachments that are videos or something like that. You need to read through the screen and work out how to use it. But once you work out how to use it, you use that same process that I mentioned before. So that's basically it. That's how you can delete emails in bulk in Gmail. Okay. So any questions? All right, please email me and I will explain more if need be.